Yo,
Super sick.
you guys ever seen this?
No. Was it
That's my
fancy water?
dog. Everybody on my dog right now. Why everybody hating on Ashton?
Bro, what the
Why is everybody hating on Ashton? That's what I don't all of a sudden, like lately and recently, I've just seen people like trying to mock him for I don't get the what it is about.
it's pretty funny, bro. It's pretty funny. Some of
What
those
is it?
What's funny?
Drew, have you never seen it?
No.
Oh
Like
my.
my bro got a routine. That's what he do. Everybody wants to copy and do what he do. That's on them.
Do you really don't get me wrong, he's successful. You really think he does that shit?
Bro, my dog do that every day.
You think so?
Bro, I'll call Ashton right now.
Give me up to speed with it. What is it?
Come on, man.
All right, so Ashton Hall is a social media personality who has blew up. I'm not gonna say practically overnight. He's been doing it for a
He's
minute.
been doing it for a while, bro. He
Right.
started from the bottom and now he's at 8 million.
Yeah, and he's like gaining a million followers.
It's quick.
Bro, look, he's at 9 right now. I swear, yesterday the dude was at 8. It's nuts.
Yeah.
You ever seen his
No, he's viral right now.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
extremely viral.
he's probably the most viral name out right now. So Drew, it's like this kind of stuff.
So is it water?
The whole morning routines. Look at the time changes and stuff.
That's my dog, and I'm proud of him because what's
Oh,
crazy. Because what's crazy, like he used to be in LA, then he moved to Miami.
bro's really
And from there, he just killing it.
Drew, is he natural?
Yeah, he natural.
I mean, I think there could be a
No,
possibility.
look at he
So-
just posted a freaking
so here-
before 2012.
So here,
Go
this is
down.
how let me just throw this out there. How I tell if somebody's natural or not is usually by the vascularity, the graininess, the hardness. You get a certain texture when you're on gear, especially cutting for a show. Now, natural guys,
that's not-
you could still
that's
have a
no
lot
hardness.
of size. Yeah, you could still have a lot of size, but still
Okay.
be. I mean, you could be big, but I mean, he's still lean, but it's not anything that
Bro.
he's just a genetic elite freak. That's what I would say.
Bro,
It's the same thing with
crazy.
Simeon Panda. I believe he's natural too.
Okay, listen, I don't think he's natural. I think at some point that man is at least taking some kind of test. He
Now,
might
Michael Hearn, no. Michael Hearn, no. You see the difference in the physiques, like the soft, bubbly look. Like even when Banks was probably natural to a certain degree, if he took it serious, you'd be able to. He'd have that look. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right there.
I will
Bro.
say, yeah, he was.
He was already big.
You can't say geared like, bro. Come on, bro.
I don't know, man.
That's
You can
9
usually
years
tell
of
when they're like in
fucking
high
hard
school.
work.
Bro, look
That's
at this.
9 years
Hold on,
of work, bro.
Drew, stop that shit. Look at the density in his shoulders. Look at his arms.
The
He
shape
definitely
is
got
there
got
already.
bigger, but it was already there, bro.
The shape is there already.
Listen,
What are you looking at?
Nah, I can't see it.
Bro,
I
you
can't see it.
tripping.
Now, he wasn't.
You
athlete,
don't be a hater.
Bro, he's got
Don't
a
be
mu-
one of
Hey,
those nasty
hey.
haters.
I'm not.
Bruh,
Listen, somebody's
you
got to
can
play
see
devil
the
advocate.
shit, bro.
Somebody's got to play devil's advocate. I don't
But
know.
you can't play
I sold him the
devil's
drugs, bro. You
advocate with
crazy. I
somebody
sold it to him.
who came from
Crazy.
natural, bro. I came from this. I
Bro,
didn't
listen,
fucking take gear until
Hey.
I went pro.
do you think
Bro,
you would have? Do you
come on,
think
bro.
your genetics would have trended you to look like this eventually?
Absolutely. If I was training like that, fuck yeah.
I don't know about that. Listen, you got one of the best physiques in the
Bro.
world. But
Come on. I got one of the best physiques in the world. And if I did it naturally, I would still have that look. It wouldn't be the hardness look like Drew was talking about, but I would still have the look if I was training like I do and eating like I do.
You would have the roundness, yeah.
And the thing about Ashton is, bro eat like a go look at his diet. His diet is not very carbish.
yeah,
I could see why people would say he's not natural just
Absolutely.
because they can't achieve it doesn't mean it's not
Bro,
natural.
it's
Bro,
another.
99%
Okay,
of
pause.
people
Wait.
in the world can't achieve this.
Wait. This is perfect because you fucking know him. Go look at Zach from Alpha Land, that track runner, that tall guy. He's a trainer there.
Oh, I know you're talking about. I know you're talking.
Exactly.
But he looks great. He looks great, but he don't look like him. I'm sorry. You guys.
He ain't putting. He not lifting like Ashton.
Drew.
Bro, those are two different genetics, and Ashton ain't that tall. Zach is taller than I am.
Look at that
I
water.
do believe that there's genetic freaks.
It's the
You look at
water,
even
bro.
Ronnie Coleman when he was competing at the Olympia the first like 10 years, he was natural and nobody believed him until he became enhanced and look at the changes he made. You know what I'm saying? Nobody believes it until like you
My
actually
dog
add it in
Ashton
there and then
is
blow
a
up.
freak.
I don't know.
Ashton's a freak.
It's the
Don't get it
water,
wrong.
bro. It's the water. I'm telling you.
First of all, I want to shout out to all my LA cats, bro. Gaines by Gaines, Fred, A Dottie, Ashton, like all them cats, man.
What's up, A Dottie?
Duke, like all them cats, bro. They all kind of in that same circle of, oh, are they natty or not, bro? They all look phenomenal. Go look at all those trainers, bro.
But here's the thing, and you know that my stories I always go off on this. The people that say that they're natty, almost it's like they want extra respect, and they're doing it for themselves, which is admirable. But that doesn't mean that you get more integrity and all that. That's for you. That's your choice. If you're going into a pool of a bunch of guys that are enhanced and you think you're going to come out on top, it's very fucking unlikely. Now, competitive wise, these guys that are top genetic on top of gear, it's very hard for a guy that's genetically gifted to come in not enhanced and to be in a conversation.
He's not on trend, but that dude's the least on testosterone. I'm gonna find his dealer in Miami. He's not too far.
Ask him. He ain't no liar, bro. He'll tell you. Aaron. That's one dude that keep it real. He keep it real, like $100, $1. All
right, Alex, can you agree that there are genetic freaks out there to a point to where?
Okay, so he just
look
not
at Dan. Look at Dan.
Yeah. Your best friend is going back to men's physique though too. Ain't that crazy?
That's what's up. Really? I told him to. I told him to when I went to Houston.
No, I followed him back today. He liked the video. I actually talked to him at the Olympia. He came up to me, shook my hand, everything. And I've talked publicly about, the whole thing, how it wasn't personal. It's kind of like jabs back and forth, and I think he finally got humbled because he didn't get the one and done like he thought. And that's what I've been saying all along. So once that happened, I think a lot of people understood that.
Hold on. I gotta, Dan is not the personality to come out and say, or think that. I think this is what the problem is with hype. All these people are hyping him up to a point. It's almost coming back at him to sit there and make it sound like he's saying all.
No, that's y'all though. That's what y'all do.
But hold on,
the dreadhead dude. Like y'all be pumping people's heads up to the point of like, okay, it's a little too big.
Hold on. First of all,
we're still to agree that they believe it, bro. You can't tell me that he didn't walk into that show and think he was going to smoke everybody.
Listen, I'm sure he got extra confidence from the words. I'm not saying he did.
That's the thing. He didn't come out and say it, but there were DMs that he would, say back to me because I never dropped his name saying his legs were, his insertions were as high as the atmosphere. He knew I was already talking about him because it applied to him. You get what I'm saying? I didn't drop names either. Just like he's not, saying anything specific. It's still getting to a point to where it's inferred. And that's the thing. It's very subjective. Yeah. It's if somebody posts something, everybody else like kind of speaks for it on their behalf. Listen, I mean, I think he's way better in men's physique anyways. It just things need to balance out. I think classic would have been a really stupid move because he would have blew up and his legs still just genetically wouldn't be matching that up.
Where's he at weight wise? What is his cap?
I don't know. What is he like 5'10"? Let me check.
I would say he's about an inch taller than me, so that would be 209.
I don't even think he's 209, bro. Like he's not. That's the crazy thing. His weight.
I'm 202 for 5'10". So if that's where he's at, because at the Olympia he was pretty bad. I'd say he's probably like 235.
But you got to understand, bro. Like even though you may stand next to him and think you're taller or shorter than him, it don't work like that.
I know.
It really don't. So we got to really see if what his height is.
I coached him. He was in class D. I believe that's 5'10", if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
It's a range. It's like 5'10". It's a range.
Let me see. I definitely.
Regardless, it's going to be hard for him to make weight if it's 202 or if it's 209. So, yeah.
Okay, so if he's sitting at 5'10", yeah. Okay, I think you're right. 202, and Dan was like 180 something. Like he has so much room. It's not necessarily even a weight factor issue. I mean, it could be now just with how much size he's put on. Like this is a recent update.
He's very dense. Even if he comes in flat, he's going to be tipping that scale over. He's very dense muscles, like very dense. Even if he stopped training the legs altogether and just, even downsized even more, it's still going to be hard for him,
Yeah. What do you think, Aaron? You think this is that elite 1% genetics?
Who, Dan?
Yeah.
For sure.
100%.
For sure.
Just because he doesn't fit the division perfectly doesn't mean it's not genetics. Even the other guy, where would he go pro in?
Okay, let's stop saying that shit. There's nobody that's not fitting the division no more. That's not a thing. It's whoever makes the fucking weight cap. There's no look, I don't think
You
anymore.
don't think there's a look in men's physique?
Fuck no. I think what it is they put that weight cap on, and whoever looks the best at that weight cap on that day wins, regardless how they look, men's physique or not.
So, okay. So you think
Because at the end of the day, do you think Ali's my boy? We made up, we good. So do you think Ali Bilal is the best looking men's physique structure on that stage?
listen, that's the
No,
thing.
it doesn't have the
No.
best
Right?
structure.
He does
So that's what I'm saying. You make the weight cap, you come polished, you come correct, you come conditioned like Ali, you're gonna win.
But there's still a distinction between men's physique and classic.
I
But
think
there isn't because the criteria is so vague.
listen, it is vague.
I
Listen,
understand that it's vague, but there's still a look. Like it's the way that you can manipulate. There's still a look. You have to have the abs. You still have to have the back. I have a really good front, got a weaker back. Third call at the Olympia. You got guys that have weaker fronts with a really strong back. They could be in that first call out. So I think it's just a matter of the muscle groups they're looking for. Like you said, who's the most complete at that weight cap on that day? And most of the guys are under the weight cap too. I would say at the taller heights. So I mean. Yeah. It just depends. There's a lot of guys that are under that weight cap that are shorter too. I don't know Diogo where he's at. I wish it was like posted online specifically, like where everybody was height to weight ratio. That'd be interesting to see.
That's too many athletes.
Like Aaron,
so many athletes.
When they say there's a look in men's physique, I said this time and time again. I think you have a look that is dense enough.
That's men's physique. It's
shoulder to waist ratio. It's structure.
But I don't even like when y'all say that no more because it's not true. I'm obviously not that. You see what I'm saying? It's so vague.
Because you're not winning with your best.
Right.
And you start thinking in your head, like, if this is the standard, why am I not winning? I understand. I understand it. I get it.
So
you
can't say that. Like, I get it. I respect it, but obviously,
I guess when we started men's physique and you started looking at all these guys taper, full chest, shoulders, that's what it is. And now that it's starting to evolve a little bit and it's going back to having really good body parts, and you could kind of sacrifice the weaker parts if you have something that's out of the norm good, right? Yes. So like if you break it down like body part for body part, that's when I do predictions from now on. We're not going to do predictions with Aaron on the podcast when it shows that he's competing in, because I want to be able to not go with the look that I think's going to win, go with the look that I think will be rewarded. That's kind of how I got to do this, because so many times I've been wrong with these predictions, and I'm to the point to where it's not even something that I understand some of the time. I give people props when they win, but it's, at what point is it going to be like, how much better do you have to get? What was your feedback for the Arnold?
Did you get your feedback from the Arnold, Aaron?
No, whatever Tyler said.
Yeah,
that's what.
He came out in the video. But listen, that's the subjective aspect of the sport. Like, it's really hard to sit there and say to me, Aaron, like personally, like that look to me is men's physique. But you can also say Diogo to a small degree, obviously Ryan Terry. Like you're right. It's hard to say that there's a certain look.
There's not a look, bro. Like, as much as we want to say it.
Okay.
I think since the weight cap, when the weight cap became like relevant, right? When they actually asserted it, I feel like we're living in the era of men's physique to where it's the most I think I would say confusing as far as it's very unpredictable.
Yeah.
It comes down to preference. I could think that there's a guy that's going to win the show. Me and Alex could think the same thing. I think we're on the same track when it comes to, breaking it down. Even if there was a guy that wasn't you, but had a similar structure to you, I would still put him ahead of a lot of guys because I prefer that structure. It's the men's physique that I know. But I feel like just right now it's confusing. I think it does come down to a preference. Each judge is, or the way that they're teaching the judging now and the breakdown of the criteria. I mean, it's a little bit different than what I'm used to.
Okay,
I think it's the most gray area right now, especially men's physique.
Drew, let me ask you this. And I don't want an imaginary 100%. I'm thinking everybody who has shown their all-time best, right? Not if everybody's 100% maxed out,
Yeah.
Everybody who has shown their all-time best on stage, then who do you think sets the standard for men's physique? Dating back to 1D days.
Aaron.
Okay, like, but that's what I'm saying. So
Aaron beat the best Brandon
hold
Hendrickson.
on,
Brandon Hendrickson before that was, you know what
why
I'm saying?
though?
Like, that's how I look because it's a look that one, I'm going to say first and foremost, I prefer. I prefer that look.
I
If
think
there's
that's
a
what it
men's
is.
physique look in my head, that's what it is. Like,
That's
I
right.
always go back to the hat that Banks has that has like the NBA logo of his silhouette.
Your
That's men's
logo.
physique. He's got the height. He's got the taper. Even the shorter guys, they can't compare with that. You know,
What
they
up?
can be similar, but
What's up?
What up?
What
Brother?
up?
How you
What
doing?
up?
what's up, man?
What's up, guys?
What's
How's it
up, man? What
going?
you doing over there? Building a gym or what?
Yeah, I am.
Hey,
You want to come out?
congratulations, man.
Thank
Congrats.
you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I have
That's
to ask,
huge.
bro. Is starting a gym, building a gym, what's the headache like? And not to mention, I believe it's in another country, right? Europe.
Yeah, yeah. And especially like right now, trying to do it from here, it's extremely hard because my nights are like till 2,
Mm.
3 a.m. Then I wake up early too because of that. It's nighttime there. So
Oof.
all the construction people, they have a little schedule from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So I have to follow that. So it's crazy. It's a lot. I didn't even expect it's gonna be this hard, but it definitely is.
Dude, the videos and stuff that you've been showing online showing is looking like that's gonna be the craziest gym in India. It,
That's the goal. That's the goal.
yeah, bro.
It looks crazy.
Is there any specific equipment slash like machines that you want in there for your personal favorites? Like you knew that you were starting a gym, it was a non-negotiable.
Oh, absolutely. I handpicked literally every single machine that is going to be in there. So we got different. That's why I chose so many different brands because I've used so many different machines from different gyms that I've trained at, and yeah, every single machine that I've chosen is like a handpick. That's my favorite, but I also know like other people are going to enjoy.
Bro, this is nuts. What?
Wild, dude.
Well, I ain't really gonna break my news, but
You too?
I might be doing the same thing. How much square footage is yours?
It's just 30,000 square feet.
Yeah,
30,000.
we're looking at 25 to 28 right now.
Oh,
Oh yeah, hell yeah,
okay.
So
that's awesome.
So
That's
Aaron,
awesome.
where would you start yours if it was something in the future?
here in Fresno.
Yeah, hometown.
Oh
Absolutely.
wow.
Hometown. I mean, it only makes sense, bro. Like, okay,
Yeah.
a Mr. Olympia, and especially when we talk about advertising, marketing, and promoting it. Oh, homegrown Mr. Olympia builds a gym in Fresno, California. Bro, of course.
Yeah, nah,
Absolutely.
it sets you up for success. Is there any specific pieces, Bhuwan, that you personally wanted for your use that you like out of every other equipment?
It's funny you asked me that because I just today got my absolute favorite piece secured, which is the rarest right now to find, which is the Cybex squat press.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, bro. Yeah, I've
I
heard
Show me
just
that. Show me
finally
that. You got to pull that
secured them.
up. You got to pull that up.
this is
Yeah,
dangerous.
you gotta show that. You gotta show that. Most people don't know about it.
Because wait, hold on. Let me take a
He wants it to.
Is this it right
Oh,
here?
yes. Yes.
Yeah, those are rare.
Those are,
Yo,
yeah.
I do want to say this though. It's nice to hear a men's physique athlete. The first thing he says is he wants.
Oh, that's not even the Cybex one, Alex. If
Not
you
it?
pull
That's
on
not
the
the, that's
actual
the,
Cybex one,
Let me see.
the Cybex squat press.
is
Yeah,
it
those are
plate loaded?
French. It's very similar. It's
Is this
just
it?
it's the
It's right
brand.
there. It's plate loaded.
Yeah, it's like right there, that image
Yeah,
in the white with the purple
Oh, right here.
purple flooring. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but like I was saying, it's nice to see a men's physique
You
athlete.
know who has
Like
that?
who?
Sean
Who?
Clarita has that in his gym he built.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. He has some really good pieces. He
Bro,
has some really
Sean,
good
I'm
ones.
gonna tell you right now, out of people who built their own little gym and when it comes to specific equipment,
Yeah,
Sean Clarita went in on his
yeah,
gym.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
yeah. He's
absolutely
got
went
some old
in.
school ones. Yeah.
Aaron, what's one piece of equipment you would have to have? Your personal favorite?
Oh, we got to do everything backwise, man. I do like the Cybex T-bar row. Um,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
anything, and that's I think to me personally, their T-bar row is the best T-bar row because the hammer strength one,
The chest support, you said talking about the chest supporter, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Aaron, have you tried the Watson T-bar row that a lot of the guys right now are using it? It's that one
Is
with the
that the one
handle,
you?
like the
Yeah.
yeah, like the D handle, like you can like change the
Yeah.
grip like from the narrow to wide.
I haven't
I
used that one yet.
I
I
love
I
that.
just
haven't.
used it last week. I was taking to Gym Leco one, which was my favorite up until now, but I just used it last week, and honestly, that's now my favorite.
What's it called? What's
Wow.
it called?
It's
That's the
Watson,
one with those.
Watson T-bar row,
Watson
and
have good stuff too.
because
Yeah.
all the open guys, a lot of the guys are now using that. It's just you can use the different grips. So according to
Wait a
your
minute. You
grip,
know
Like,
what?
yes, that.
That's the one I have at my gym at Iron Office. I thought you were talking about the other one. We
Oh
No,
no,
have that
yeah,
at
that's the
my
one. Yeah,
home
yeah,
gym. That one's go
um,
crazy too.
oh
yeah. It
yeah,
is so good,
yeah,
so good.
Yes.
they have this at MI40. This is where we trained at Bhuwan. This,
That one
Yep,
is actually
yep.
nasty.
dude, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie, this
Nasty.
one humbles the hell out of you though. It's heavy as
it
shit.
is. It
Yeah.
is heavy.
It's
It is.
heavy.
That's why I don't
They
like
got
it.
one at Iron
No, the
Religion in
humbler one is
Orlando.
the
Yeah.
Arsenal one. The humbler one is the Arsenal chest supported T-bar row.
This
That
one
one
is
is
heavy
absolutely
too,
crazy.
but Arsenal one is like you can't even put on like 2 or 3 plates on there.
Bro,
I
you
think you have to
can't
use
put
25.
Dead
25s
ass,
on each
bro.
side. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yep, it's heavy as hell. But my
It's
man,
all steel.
it is good to have you on, bro. How's life?
Yeah, likewise. It's good to be here.
Yeah, man, how's life been?
I know I've met you. I mean, I've met all of you in like different, I guess, stages. Aaron, though,
Yeah.
I've only met him at the Olympia, like during the meetup.
Yeah.
But you, I've met you a couple times, and Drew, I've met him a couple times. So yeah, it's kind of really nice to be here and finally
Yeah,
talk to
Absolutely.
man.
you.
Yeah.
I know because we've never really had like a even like a
Yeah,
real
yeah. We just kind of
conversation.
it
So
just kind of we just missed out. Our schedules, competing schedules were always different. And then at the Olympia,
yeah,
you know how different it is. And but I
yeah,
still made it a
super.
point. I think we had a good conversation like in the 2022
We
Olympia. Like,
did. We
yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So, even, Alex has made his way to India. Hopefully when that gym get
Yeah, man, you
finished,
guys
man,
gotta
we
come
can come
out.
out and
You
come
have to. You
support.
have to.
Come support, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy, crazy time. And Alex has already been there, so he knows like the
Bro, there's
food, the
there's nothing like
culture.
it
Yeah.
there. There's
Yeah.
no, I'm telling you guys right now, listen, you guys have heard me rave about it multiple times. I've competed there. It's the number one experience I've ever had competing. Even taking a second place finish, like as a fan, taking a step
Yeah.
back, looking at what just took place, it shits on what we get here in the States. Like it completely changes
Mhm.
my first perspective of it. But one, like if you could explain it, like to simplify it for people, because you've competed everywhere. Like how
Mhm.
would you compare competing internationally versus competing in the States?
I think internationally, the passion for fitness is just so much more. So they really regard you as like, if we were to compare people like NFL and NHL here, like the fans, how crazy they are for that sport, it's the same kind of craziness the fans bring for bodybuilding. And that's a great feeling to when you, especially as a competitor when you're on stage. That's why you
Yeah.
said, even though you came second, it was just the experience was just crazy. You were just soaking it in. And for me, even though I'm from there, the first time I did compete there in 2022, that was insane because even for me, I was like, oh, wow, it's a different feeling when you're on the other side.
So that was
Yeah.
the first time you competed here in 2022?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. So I could only imagine like what the crowd was like when you actually took the
I
stage.
remember
That
that.
was,
I
I
remember
remember
that.
that look.
that
Yep.
was my favorite memory of competing ever, for sure. That beats
Really?
everything.
Yeah, I don't think people understand. Like it's packed. Like as far as the eye could see from the stage. Like
Yeah.
it's absolutely insane. And I, there was like shots of me like having emotion on stage, like getting the crowd involved and stuff, because it's hard to put into words. Like we don't get that kind of experience at most shows here in the States. And you know,
Yeah.
like you're Aaron's, like you're at the top of level at the Olympia. Like it's a little bit different of a feeling. So here it's hard to explain it. I felt like an A-list celebrity. You know, like I'm walking
Yeah.
just to get my tan. People are taking photos and all this stuff, right? So I don't know, man. It felt nice feeling like a professional. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when here, we don't feel like a professional. It's more of just like a title. But you know, like my experience here was insane. But
Yeah. Yeah.
you listed a handful of shows that you're looking to compete in, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Right? You listed.
Yeah.
So first, ring off the list for us real quick, and I have a question.
So it's Republic of Texas. There is
Good
Tampa,
show.
Chicago, and there's Texas Pro. So those four, and then maybe like in the middle, I think there's Vancouver Pro, and there's a couple more shows right around that same
Yeah.
4 week period. So we'll see like which ones I want to go, but those are like the main ones.
Okay,
You're doing
so
all of those shows?
Yeah, I do want to do like all
Woo!
day,
You
at
you
least
trying to
4.
run. That's what's
Yeah,
up. And that's the respect, man, that I think you deserve. And I think other athletes need to also run. Like, I mean,
yeah,
we are men's physique guys. We're not taking a crazy amount of stuff like the other guys, but I think as us in our division and how we grow, we need bigger names like myself, you, Alex, Drew, the Brandons, the Jeremy. We need the bigger names to compete and not just be, oh, I'm competing once.
yeah, no,
Right?
absolutely.
So like if we have that, I think our division would even grow even bigger than what it is because people will be showing up to these shows to see the bigger names and not just like, oh well, such and such is here.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
and I
so
think that's the point of men's physique, as you perfectly put out. Like, it's not supposed to be a division where you're taking crazy amounts of gear and we can only do one show or two shows a year. We
yeah,
are supposed to be the ones that are like the healthy, like we stay lean. We want to like just, just compete more, just make the sport better.
yeah,
And at
absolutely.
least for me, and I know like you have done that since you started competing, and that's why
Yeah,
you were able to make a name for yourself despite winning. You've taken
yeah,
chances that nobody else has because you wanted to compete.
yeah,
And when I was competing, like before I took this 1 year off, like it was an average of 3 shows a year. Even if I was already qualified, I would still do it
still compete.
because
Yeah,
like three is like okay, like it's not that high of a number. It's also not low, but it's enough to just get your name out there and then also make the division. Like yeah, this guy shows up.
yep,
Yeah, like listen, we're already seeing what happens with like Pittsburgh, right? Like how deep the first call out is in Pittsburgh. There's a chance that they're Olympia qualified athletes in the second call outs, right? So
Yeah,
there's excitement being brought up
yeah.
about this show. So imagine if the athletes in the men's physique division could do what Aaron did, who's doing what Brandon did, what you're doing, Corey
Yeah.
Moore did, Amanda, like they kept going and they kept it exciting, right? And then really the cream of the crop are going to be the ones who at the end of the day are going to be
So
rising up.
Alex, in 2019, I don't know how if you remember, there was a point system, right?
Yeah,
So there was no choice but to do multiple shows.
that's a good point.
Everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. You have to do minimum two. If you still won, that's you still need two to guarantee your place at the Olympia. So
So
I remember like back then, every guy, Ismail, like Joe and Dean and all these guys, they used to do every show that I was in, like that's week
yep.
after week after week after week, 5 weeks in a row. Like
No,
I was
that's
doing it as the
that. Well,
same
those
guy.
two are the other guys who used to run too,
Yeah.
Joe and Dean. And when
Yeah,
I first
yeah,
met Joe and Dean, they did that show in
yeah.
Sacramento with Ant Woods, and I was like,
Ex-
and I kept seeing their faces as I. That's when I first came into the. I was an NPC athlete at that time. So, bro,
okay.
that's when I started seeing Dean and Joe. I'm like,
yeah, you were
these
Yeah,
used
young
to
and
do
old.
every
Yeah.
show.
yeah. Yeah, I
And
Yeah,
remember that.
but
It's no matter which show you go to, you'll see the same faces. And there'll be
yeah,
like 30 guys. It's not like it was easy shows. Every
yeah,
show would have 20 to 30 pros, but there's the same guys
same
jumping
guys.
after jumping. And then yeah, the placings will keep changing. I remember like Corey won the first show I did, Mile High, and then the next one, the Sacramento one, he came I think sixth, and then I was like third, and then like Joe was like I think fourth, Dean was like second, and one, and then the next show it'll completely swap. Ant would be fourth,
oh my
and
God.
then Joe would be, it
That's
was always
wild.
like yeah, it's the same thing, and you keep going between the placings.
Yeah.
Do you think men's physique right now is more exciting than it was, say, 5 to 7 years ago? Or do you think that there's not enough people competing at the top level?
I think it definitely is with the social media and everything that has now grown. Like it's a completely different time that we are living in from what it was. Because I think that at that time, I do feel like those guys that were putting in the work and they were competing in so many shows didn't get enough exposure and the respect that they should have got.
Yeah.
But that's because we didn't have the media. We didn't have like the shows covering stuff. I still remember the pictures that used to come out used to only be like on the NPC page, no social media pictures. Nobody would get to know, no live stream. So it's like if you're there, you can get the pictures. Otherwise, you're just done.
Well, they
Now
literally, I
you just
think,
get
started that when I started competing, to be honest.
Really?
Because
pretty
I used
much,
to
yeah.
hear that all the time, like, oh, there's no cameras, there's no nothing. It was just
Yep.
X, Y, and Z. So I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's
Because
new.
Aaron, you didn't, I keep forgetting, bro. Like I said, you're young and old at the same time. You didn't start until
Bro, this is only my fifth year.
Yeah. It's crazy.
This is
I
only my fifth
remember I
year.
remember Body Morphs Pro. It was like these guys that they were the only way that you could get photos. You had to buy the package and you got an interview after, and that was only if you won, and that was it. If you didn't buy the package, they don't even exist. So my
Yeah.
first show ever, I don't even have anything. I got some stuff off my, iPhone, 5 at the time, and
Yeah.
it's all pixelated, and I can't even use that as a good reference. I mean, it's kind of funny to look back at now, but yeah, oh, shout out you guys. I don't know what happened to them. I mean, obviously, just bigger and better came along, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
so popular now. So
You know what
obviously,
happened
it's
to him?
more information.
Gilco.
Yeah. Gilco wasn't even, I don't even know. I think Gilco's around my age, bro. He probably was a teenager then.
Gilco's video would be exposing people, bro.
Yeah.
They'd be
Oh, yeah.
They expose a lot of people, bro. Like,
I think it was Fit Pro Becky talked about how Gilco was the closest thing you could get to if you weren't in person.
Yeah.
So it's the closest, most accurate depiction of looking at a physique without being at the show.
That's
So you really see the difference when you get a Gilco video. So shout
that's a
out
big
Gilco.
deal.
He's doing his thing and taking over the game.
It's my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
it's not just one guy, it's a
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
They're
the whole
always
team. We're not
running
just talking
around,
about
man. They got
Mitch.
everything going. Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw what they did for the men's physique division, right?
Yeah.
Like they added that best posing award. I think that's badass, man.
Huge.
Yeah,
That's
it's cool.
huge.
It's cool. Those guys are workaholics, bro, throughout the season. I mean, they found the most efficient way with different angles to have it all set up to where there's nobody that can compete with them.
Yeah. You're right.
Very
And
hard.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, shit, their business is also having just a great personality. I mean, you got to meet those guys.
Make sure you tag them in your photos. Otherwise, you're going to get
That
blocked and
part.
he's never doing business with you again.
That part.
All right, Bhuwan. So how far out are you right now from your first show?
About 15 weeks.
Okay, so first of all, you look huge. All right, so that's the one thing. You put on a lot of muscle. Can you explain real quick what made your decision? Because a lot of people might not realize, like, you took time off for an extended period of time in order to bring a much improved physique. So can you tell us a little bit more about your decision in the off season or to go into an extended off season and then how it's been since?
Yeah, that was definitely the toughest decision I've ever had to take because, as we were talking about, I'm a guy that loves competing. I'm a guy that likes to like be on stage, but more importantly, I like to be in prep mode as much as possible. So to take that much time was a hard thing, not only like mentally, like because you have to understand like everything that you do when you're on prep, it all changes. Like now you have to be slow, you have to force feed yourself. At the same time, you're still trying to stay focused without a clear goal in sight. I didn't know which show I'm going to do this year. It was just about putting in sight. So it's different. So that, and then obviously, like as the division is growing, you lose the kind of like the hype around your name, and then you're like thinking about like, am I going to get more sponsors? Am I going to get axed by some of the companies? Am I going to be able to grow? At the same time, you're also thinking, okay, how am I going to balance my personal life, my like off season, and then a prep? So there was a lot of things going on, but that is the best thing that I did, both for my competing as well as for my business life, because that allowed me to really step back
Yeah.
and take time to really like put something together. And the plan of business came around the same time, like when I made the decision to like take a longer off season.
Oh, damn.
But it took a long time to make it into a reality because that's how much time it takes once you start thinking about it to like the time when everything is going around. So I think that was the best thing because of that. It allowed me to like build something for much more than just myself. Because when you're in prep,
What
you're a
was
lot more
it?
selfish.
How long was it?
That was, I think it'll be about 17 months. It's already 17. By the time I compete, it'll be probably like around 19 months.
Wow.
Of like, yeah, between the last show to the next show.
And what was your feedback at your last show before going into your extended off season?
So it was difficult. It was different for me in 2023 because 2023, like I definitely lost some size that I had gained in 2022. So I was a lot bigger. Like that India Pro Show physique was definitely my best physique because I was a lot bigger. I was 209 on stage at the show. And I definitely peaked well and everything was good. But then as 2023 came along, I think it's just the mental aspect of the pressure and like a lot of other things that just kind of gets to you, and then you're still competing, you're not taking an off season, you're not taking enough break. And I think that was the first time that I actually decided not to take an off season, because up until then I would always have like 6 to 8 months between my two shows. This time there was no time. I competed in December and the first show I jumped in was in May. There was nothing. It was just recovery, get back into prep. And I thought by doing that I can do what some of the other guys were doing, which is grow into the prep.
Yeah.
We call that phrase like, oh, you can just grow into the prep, just stay lean and you'll grow in. But I realized, like, for me, again, hard lesson, but that's why we love this game. I know there's so many lessons, that for me that didn't really work as well as I thought. So for me, for my body type, for my like the metabolism that I have, like I need to have surplus calories for some time after a show in order to like ensure that I'm not losing muscle. But that's what happened. So then when I competed in May, the first show I looked great. Full, I was good, but big, 208 or 207 pounds. And then as I could get competing, second show, third show, India, you've already been there in Delhi. Like I got dehydrated. Like it was just so hot, humid. And I just kept losing size and I kept losing, like, I just felt like, okay, I wasn't able to improve from my Olympia in 2022, where I didn't peak, but a month before that, I competed in India, which was my best package. So then I realized that, okay, like my physique's not improving, and that's because I'm not giving it time to like be in a surplus. I'm just going into prep. I say recovery and then go back into prep, recovery. That's what I did all year in 2023. So that was the reasoning behind like why, because when I saw the guys that they chose to be in that top 10, top 15 year after year, they want more size. For me, I was 206 versus 209. So
So, so my question is this, because this is coming from somebody, by the way, you're winning pro shows, right?
yeah,
Like you're the top guy
yeah,
in almost every show that you do, if not
yeah,
winning the
yeah,
show,
yeah.
and how, let's be real, a lot of times people don't know what their prime is, quote unquote, but like you did take time off during the time that you were winning. So my
Yeah.
question is, did your decision mainly come from not being satisfied with the placings you were getting anymore and you wanted to break into that upper echelon? Or was it more of a situational thing because business is happening, or was it a kind of more of a combination?
I think the placing thing wasn't something that was playing in my head in at least at the Olympia in 2023 because City plays right at the same color as I did, and he was the top guy running into the Olympia, and he's right now like winning shows, and he's the top guy. It's all a matter of like, okay, like are you really able to bring the physique that you have seen yourself in the gym, and is that the same physique that's translating on stage? For me, I took a back step. I'm like, okay, it's been too long. It's not happening. It did happen, and I had a streak, and I had a streak of it happening. But then I had a streak of it not happening. So we have to like sit back and really analyze. I'm like, okay, there's a new plan that's needed. There's a new game plan that needs to be taken, and that's what I did. So it was more along the lines like, okay, I have to step back and really realize what is not working.
Dude, what you're saying right now, we had a deep conversation about this when we we're at MI40.
Yeah,
That's how I feel right now.
yeah,
Like I am good enough to get there.
yeah,
I'm good enough to, or better yet, I've proven that I belong. But I'm at a point now where I'm not seeing the consistent progression that I know that I was seeing and feeling.
yeah,
And I almost needed like almost like a reset. You know what I mean? Like to take a step back in order to take multiple steps forward.
yeah,
And I can tell you this much, bro, it was the hardest decision that I've had to make because I'm 28 years old.
yeah.
I'm seeing myself, being standing next to these guys, but but everything I'm doing is not getting me there.
Yeah.
One second. Drew,
What's up?
yeah, sorry, my dogs are going crazy.
Oh,
Yeah, but
Oh,
no,
I thought your thing kept speeding up and slowing down. Did you hear
Yeah,
I
it
was,
that?
I
did.
thought it
It
was
did. I
me.
was like,
So I
oh,
thought you were skipping for a minute. I was like,
yeah.
okay, let me hold on. Like your voice just sped up and then it slowed down.
oh,
It was
my
like,
dogs are
what the
fucking
heck?
crazy. My dogs are crazy, bro. Like they go crazy at anything. Like we have this like mirror that you can't see fully through, but you can see enough through that if they get a light, anything, they just go insane. My office is right at the door. But regardless, man, like I was saying, like the decision you made to stop competing was something similar to me, and it was
Yeah.
fucking hard, man. Like
And we talked about it. Like I remember our conversation, and that was the same thing. You were just thinking of doing that. You were in the like you were just planning on doing it. And for me, I was already midway through it. And yeah, I think it's the hardest thing. And until you really go through it, you don't realize that when you say how hard it is. Because I also didn't realize like how people did tell me it's gonna be hard. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be hard, but it's fine. It's definitely not something that is to be taken lightly because it just does so much to your psyche of like constantly being in that, okay, like I just feel like it just puts you in a very overthinking drive because you see everybody else. See, that's the thing with social media. You see everybody else competing. And you're like, why am I not there? I love to compete. I'm not able to do it because, oh, my body's not responding. Why?
so
It's so unfair that my body's not responding, but I want to.
it's crazy you're saying this. Okay, I got a semi-racist question to ask.
Oh
I've
God.
heard from so many different people, right? Is it true that the Indian culture, it's hard to put on muscle faster than you would say the majority? Or have you seen those freaks of, I mean, I'm sure there's always those outliers, but have you noticed a trend in you just not being able to put on quality tissue as quickly as some other people might be?
Oh, absolutely. I think I spent so many years trying to really understand why. So I wasn't willing to accept it, especially when I was younger, like, early 20s, like mid 20s, when I was just starting out as a pro. I refused to accept that. I was just always in that, like, yeah, if as long as you work harder than everybody else, you can just make up for whatever, right? But then as you get older, as you get more experience, where I am at, I'm now 31, which is like crazy to me. But at the same time, like my
You think you're
mentality
old,
has
bro?
changed. Yeah, 31. Yeah, I just turned 31, I guess.
Young,
Bro, that's
young
not
man.
old.
I feel old, man. I feel old because I look back at like when I turned pro, I'm like 24, and then
Yeah.
like, oh wow, like it's like from then to now, like where did all the 20, like where did it all the time go?
But a
Bro,
lot of people, I think I don't know who I was talking to, but a lot of people get it like mixed because you may think you're old because you've been competing and doing it for
yeah.
so long. Besides not thinking about the
Not being
age,
an age
the
thing, an
age,
experience thing.
you're
Yeah.
Yeah,
young.
yeah, I think
You know
it's
what I
more so
mean?
about that.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
and
same with
shit, I've
me.
only been
I've
doing
been in
this
the
for
game for 10.
years, and I'm 36.
I know. Like Drew, I've seen him like he's been there forever. I know he's one of those guys that I've seen him almost since I
Yeah.
started.
Yeah, no. I have to kind of come to that. The reason I asked that question because like I had asked myself that question with like, am I looking at other people and comparing my physique to theirs and hoping I get that, but maybe that's not within my genetic potential. I don't like putting that as a cap as well, but like when I see people like in terms of like conditioning wise, like I'm telling you right now, there's certain things like there's no one who has done more than me in order to get conditioned. I also think there was other variables in there, but at the same time, like you've seen it, bro. Like you've seen it live and in person, right? Like, bro, I can promise you, I killed myself
Yes.
to give you
Yes.
to bring that look. You know what I mean? And that's where it's harder. Don't get me wrong, the look is respectable, but it's not what the effort and consistency behind it is putting in. You know what I mean?
I
So
think you and I are very, that's why we had that talk too. Like our bodies are very similar in that aspect. And that's one of the
I just
feedback.
wrote that down. That was my point.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like the
is that a
better you
brown
guys
thing,
do, the
bro?
more pressure you feel. What's up?
Is that a brown thing?
I mean, I do know it's a metabolism thing because you and I have the same feedback. Like pretty much every time we don't show up at our 100%, it's like, okay, you just missed the peak. You were softer, or you like, there's a little water. You were softer. You can be hotter. You can be this, and then what it really comes down to, I was chasing that peaking perfectly, but then I realized maybe it's the lack of size. You put on so much more size, then that's where some of the guys, and I've competed with a lot. Like I'm very close to Jason, Joe, all these guys, and I know how their bodies react. And like these guys do not lose muscle no matter what,
Yeah.
and they are on such low carbs and such high cardio that it's insane, but they keep that muscle. For me, if I ever try to diet their way, I'm going to be left with nothing. But that's just how it is, right? So then you just really understand like it's just a difference in genetics, and genetics play a huge role in how you
Huge,
look.
huge.
Aaron,
So,
being
so
a
some of the denser guys, like it's not like they're working hard, and that's the thing with like people, like especially on social media when they try to like pick physiques apart. What they don't realize is like it's just a genetic thing. What your muscles look like, it doesn't mean that the guy is working harder or does something special or is taking extreme amounts of gear. It's not even that. It's just they are just built that way.
yeah. Go ahead.
I always use those analogies with like the NBA. These guys are 7-footers. Did they take something to be that tall? No. There are
Yeah.
some people that are just born more predisposed to having, maybe a myostatin deficiency or protein synthesis to where they could put on muscle a lot easier. Then there's guys that could get really, really peeled, but they struggle with putting on the tissue. But once they figure that out, they become dangerous. But it was even at the beginning of this video, I know Aaron was or Alex was showing one of Aaron's buddies that's going crazy over that water, the routine. He's
Ashton Hall.
another guy. So it kind of ties in, but who knows? Maybe he's a guy like that is like a mesomorph to where he could gain size really quick and put on tissue really fast. And it's the best of both worlds and he gets peeled. But it just depends, especially men's physique, man. Like you got to maintain the fullness with the conditioning. You can be conditioned like you said, like how you look at yourself in the gym on a good day. You might go in the gym, you feel dead, but you get such a good pump. You're like, holy shit, you shock yourself. That's the look you got to bring the stage. And a lot of it is just the mental pressure going into a show. And I actually wrote, while you guys were talking, I wrote this down. I said, the better you do, the more pressure you feel because your personal expectations are raised every time you bring a better look. So that's something that I think about as well. You got higher pressure on yourself when you bring a certain look to the stage. The goal is to always beat that. And it's very similar with you and Alex.
Same thing that you just said. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Aaron, when you competed at the Legions, what
Yes.
Drew just said about the pressure that can change your physique, that can just change the look that you bring, and it can get into your head, and the head can change. Did you feel like that happened at Legion when you were off?
A little bit, yeah.
Right? Because you just put so much pressure on yourself.
And that's the thing. I did put so much pressure on myself because, again, we were coming back from not doing the Arnold, but just placing third at the Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
So, trying to go into this show and be like, okay, it's not like of course you have the confidence that you're going.
Yeah.
I had the confidence I'm going in
Yeah.
to win and stuff like that.
Because you're
But
the
it's still
champ
the
too.
pressure of like,
Yes.
well, what if?
Yeah.
Or
Like,
that
did it make you
self-doubt.
like more edgy, like couple weeks, couple even days, even the day before that? Yeah, I have to show up. Like, it's the pressure
Oh
to
yeah,
keep
it
up
made
with
me
your
super
thoughts.
antsy, bro.
Yeah,
And I'm one of those. Bro, I got ADHD.
that's
So I'm
what I
always
meant.
thinking in my head. So
That is what I
it's
meant.
like,
And
yeah,
yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
So
100%.
so Drew, what you just said, I think like based on my experience, that is the biggest takeaway that I've taken after doing all these shows. For me, one of the reasons like I've figured out like why the Olympia, like I'm not able to bring the best back, like peak perfectly at the Olympia, is because every single time at the Olympia has been extreme amounts of pressure. And then I make it double or triple by thinking about it, leading up to it
Yeah.
a day before, 2 days before.
That-
How it will, and then pro shows, my mentality is completely different. When I
Yeah.
do the pro shows, I really don't care. I'm like, oh, I'm just going there. I'm
It's
going
an
to bring the best.
in-season football game, not the Super Bowl. You know, it's an
Yes.
in-season. And also, I compare it to Alex with his Miami look. You haven't matched your best at the Olympia. Now, if you would have brought the Indian or the India Pro look to the Olympia, it would have been different. I don't think you would have
Yeah.
took that time off because things are clicking. When you realize you're not clicking anymore, you start questioning yourself. That self-doubt
Yes.
is going to make you hold
Yes.
more cortisol, and that could aid to the worst look. So
Yeah.
Alex, I know constantly, even when he won Optimum, you know, he beat me, he beat Brandon Cantaloupes, he qualified. The first thing that he thought in his head was, how can I get better? Because this still wasn't as good as my best ever. So you're constantly going back and trying to match your previous best. And if it's not matching that, you almost feel like even if you win a show, you lost. That's how
Exactly.
I feel too. If I, brought a good look, but I placed worse, it's still a win in my book. The pictures don't lie. The data's been collected. It's only going to set me up for a bigger win in the future because the losses teach me a lot more than the wins. But if you win a show and you look worse or not your best, at least, it almost feels like it's not as deserving.
You hit the
Right.
bro.
Yeah.
I felt better after losing India than I did after winning Optimal.
I remember. I think you
So
called me and we were talking about it. I remember. And you
yeah,
said you would do it again, even taking second, but it opened your eyes up. And I think this whole year opened your eyes up. And it's the same thing with Bhuwan. Like his eyes opened up probably. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to take this time off to get my body acclimated to, bring in a better look. The judges already seen me 100%. Same thing with Aaron. He was compared to his 2022 Olympia look, for years. They see you at your best of all time. You're going to be judged on that potential. If they've seen you better before, it doesn't matter how you are in the lineup. You could be the best in the lineup. They might move you back just because you didn't improve. The sport is body building, not body retracting. So you gotta keep up with it, and they make an example if you don't listen.
I was gonna say, and the judges see it. You know what I mean? Like they take note of it.
They
Like
see it better than anybody else. I mean, in person, they're seeing you show up. And if they tell you to sit your ass out for a show and you do that show the next week and they told you no, you're moving from the first call out to the second call out.
Bro, Sandy told me to sit down after like running a string of shows and get
Don't ask for advice and then don't take
second.
it.
He told me to sit out.
That part.
Yeah,
You should have grabbed the feedback.
Yeah.
You should have just did.
It's like going to court without an attorney. They're going to make sure that you fail that case.
100%. Bhuwan, you mentioned a lot of pressure and something that I've experienced because I've experienced it being there in person in India. I want to put into people's perspective and I also ask it as a question. That community, like we hit on, is much different than the fans here. Do you feel the pressure of an entire country when you're stepping on those big stages? And can that be another reason why you feel like, you're carrying the world on your shoulders when you get ready to step out on the stage?
I think that's definitely been a big reason for me. As much as I hate to see it, and I've spent a lot of time, especially the time off that I spent from stage, I've really spent a lot of time really analyzing what is really going on with the mental aspect of things, right? And I really realized, like, after the 2022 Olympia, like, my mindset had completely changed. And it's not because, like, it was changed for the bodybuilding aspect, it's because of the pressure aspect. And I never felt that before. Because, see, when you're competing in the beginning, when you're trying to get up. Like even and I say this because I know Aaron is at a point in his career that he'll be able to really attest to a lot of the points that I'm saying because he is exactly like he's gonna experience at a different level. But again, it's the same kind of thought process. When you're coming up, it doesn't matter what other people expect of you because they are always going to support you because you're on a journey up, right? So it doesn't matter what they do. You are only focused on yourself, and that's going up. Now, what the problem happens is like when you're constantly going up, at some point you're gonna plateau, and that's okay because again, after that, you'll grow. There's always going to be, it's never going to be a constant growth. When that happens, the pressure, the outside pressure starts affecting you, which is why I say there's internal pressure and there's external pressure. That external pressure is what starts affecting you to like cause doubts in your brain. And then your physique, as Drew said, the cortisol levels really make it impossible for you to be at your 100%, whether it's training in the gym or whether it's speaking for a show. And as it goes up, the worse it really gets, unless you completely block the external pressure, which is why nowadays it's so much harder to do that because of social media. It's your business. It's the way of you're going to be making money. You cannot cut yourself completely out of that. As soon as you get there, you see that, you hear something, it's going to put cast into your head. Now, that doubt is going to be like, again, you're going to be like thinking about it, and that's going to again raise your cortisol. Again, you have to bring it down, and then a week later, again, it's the same thing. So I think that has a lot to do with your progress as well as like speaking
Do you
perfectly at
think,
the show.
do you think a bodybuilder would, same genetics, same situation, do you think they do better in a prep if they completely were off social media versus
Oh, absolutely. I've thought of myself so many times that I would be doing far better in the last 2 years if I just completely got myself out of social media.
Yeah.
And I would love to do that. Because what made you a success was with, like, at least for me, I know that there was a different mindset and that was not based on social media. That was based on just, I'll do it because I love it and it's internal pressure. And at our level, every guy is almost similar. They're all like ambitious, super hardworking, talented people that are high achievers. So you have that internal pressure all along. But then when the external pressure comes, everybody's going to be different. Everybody faces external pressure differently.
that's
And
great.
that's the key. Where that is
Exactly.
where it makes the difference.
You know, I mean, I've seen it more over the last couple of years on how much the division has changed, mainly because of social media. And I don't like saying this in terms of talking down on the sport, but you can clearly see like there's more sensitivity out there. You'll see a lot of online beefs, more people arguing with each other because of stuff that stemmed from social media. And it's it adds excitement to a degree.
Yeah.
Like we've seen that
There's
happen.
positives and negatives. Some people handle
Yes.
it well.
Oh,
I'm one
Yes.
of those guys that it could be detrimental to a prep if it happens,
but it's
Yeah.
but
mental.
I've learned to control it. You know, I've had these conversations with Alex. Sometimes I'll call him and vent. Yeah, this motherfucker said that. And he even tells me, he's like, bro, just let it go. And then once I
Yeah.
talk to him and I rationalize I'm off social media, it's not
Yeah.
stirring a pot with anybody else. Like
Yeah.
there's a time and a place for everything. But it actually has helped me now, being able to go to the gym and listen to all the people say he doesn't have a back and then going to the gym and working
Yeah.
out.
Using that as a
So
fuel.
exactly. Not many
Yeah.
people could say they're doing that, but how many are actually doing it? A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't give a fuck what this guy says or whatever," but we all do care to a certain degree because this is a highly criticized sport,
Yeah.
and there's no talent in it. It's all visual, so
Yeah.
we're being judged on our look. So
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like I said, when I stepped off stage at Optimum, the conversation wasn't congratulations, you qualified for the Olympia. It was what he didn't look like, you know what I mean? Or what, you know, or the ball
Yeah.
that was dropped. And I couldn't even enjoy the win, man. You know, and I've grown a lot from the sport. And it's crazy when I say grown a lot from the sport. I've actually learned to not let certain things, you know, get me down or become as sensitive to it. Because again, man, like it's wild how much the mental side of this game will take part.
and you helped me with that, and I feel like this is the reason we started this podcast because I think we've all gone through the BS. And the reason why we get on all you other athletes like Bhuwan or Ryan Terry or Ryan Clark and all these guys that are making a name for themselves as Olympians is because we want to show people that we're normal people. We all bleed when we're cut. You know, we all came from a mama. We don't have, we might have different genetics and stuff, but at the end of the day, we all deal with reality.
Yeah.
You know, it's our lives aren't any more spectacular than anybody else. You know, you could be rich and still have more problems than somebody that's poor. So it's your perspective, and we try to give that.
Literally.
I'm just gonna say this. You guys know I create content. We have content here with the podcast. You know, one thing that you'll always find me, that I say, and I know Aaron at times can say, sometimes you're gassing people up too much, right? I always try to speak highly of somebody in terms of keeping it positive. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what people don't do half the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd rather hype somebody up a little too much to inflate their ego rather than do the opposite and pull them down a little bit, make them feel.
Because it comes back to you, the positivity comes back to you, right? Like that mindset, just talking that way or just like thinking like that about somebody else also gets back to you.
Yes, 100%.
The problem that I notice with bodybuilding as a whole, and it could be any division, is there's people that compliment, and then there's people that don't because they feel like it takes something away from their physique and their pride by giving somebody else a compliment. And there's a lot of selfishness in this sport, obviously, but we're more similar than not alike. We all go to I remember MPC nationals. I did 100 national shows before I got my pro card. And I just remember like people walking around, they're quiet, they all got to like walk around with the invisible lat syndrome with their chests out, and they got to stare you down. And I'm like, this is more so like the intimidation factor than fun. I'm like, all the hard work's done. I want to sit back and bullshit. And you'll notice at pro shows, all the guys that are in the first call out, as long as they don't have beef, are the ones that are all happy, bullshitting, laughing. That's how it was, especially for me and Alex at Optimum, and how it was in Miami or how it was in Toronto. Like, I have fun doing this. There's no reason to have your chest out and think you're better. Like, all that work's done. And if anything, it's going to help relieve some of that cortisol, and you're going to have a good time and enjoy it. It's the experience of the show, whether you win or not.
I found a vast difference from the start of which that was me in the beginning, where I was hood up, head down mentality. And then it was much different as I got comfortable and I started seeing people at pro shows and just doing more. It gave me a sense of comfort going out on the stage. Whether I'm going out against Aaron, who again has a more superior physique, it keeps me calm. Like I'm just gonna go out there and fucking do my thing. So again, finding that comfort, within the stress of bodybuilding is definitely something that's important.
I think majority of the guys have always been like that. Like having done, I think I've done like 18 or 19 pro shows so far, 19 probably.
Damn.
Yeah. So having competed in that, I can tell you, like in the last a year or 2 year, like things have really changed with how what you were just talking about, like like we just the guys that are happy in the first call out, or like the guys that have the the beef or like all of that, because there was a time when minus like Andre and Brandon, I remember they were the only ones, or like Jeremy, like maybe 2 or 3, but that's 2 or 3 out of like I don't know what hundreds of pros total, right? Like there's 2 or 3 out of hundreds of pros total that would be doing that. Now I just feel like it's a lot more.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, man. I'm gonna put you on the spot here. So the somewhat official list for the Pittsburgh Pros just got released, or at least the initial. I believe there's 7 weeks, Aaron? Aaron, are you 7 weeks out?
7.
Yeah, so there's still 7 more weeks, so there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of people to jump in, but just the confirmed list right now is absolutely insane. Again, like I said before, we have the second in the world, third in the world. We have fifth? No, who's fifth? There's Edvon. We got 7, 8, 15. Like there's top competitors.
Yeah, Vitor or Victor Ramirez, right? And then you got okay.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot here. So I'm not sure if you've followed the page for a while, but we have a new predictions platform that we can go in and put who we think are going to be. I have currently the top 8. All right. Let me see here. And I want to upload your name in here and have you make your predictions. So first things first.
Is this the website version?
Yeah, this is the website. It's so much easier.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, dude. I love it, man. Like this is just another way to bring
that's awesome.
The division together. All right, let's do this. So
more interactive. That's the goal. Everybody wants to talk about their predictions and stuff, but you can kind of see where you're at if you're right or wrong.
Yeah, this is really cool.
All right. So first, Drew, myself, Aaron, we're not going to do our predictions until before. But let's do the top 8. All right. So let me pull up the list here for you again. I'm curious to know who you think is going to fall into these spots. Now, let's quickly first break down the lineup where we have Ali Bilal just coming off a 2nd place finish at the Olympia. And then, of course, just winning the Arnold Classic. Aaron, who's brought what I believe was his best package ever to the Arnold Classic. Diogo coming off of a 3rd place finish. Again, our 7th ranked men's physique athlete in the world in Vitor. Carlos Ocran, 8th. We have a 5th place, 2-time 5th place in Edvon. And then, of course, Ryan Clark. And then a lot of other guys who we just recently jumped in as well. All right. Do you need more time? Do you want to see the list?
Man, it's tough because the first, top 3 is just so close, because I mean I know my top 3, but it's just so close that it's just gonna be so much about the guy that peaks perfectly on that hour of it's a 2-day show, right? Pittsburgh is 2-day.
Aaron, is it 2-day?
No. Oh, it's not?
It is a
2-day show, but men's physique's in 1 day. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So it just depends on in that 1 hour and it literally who brings in the
And
I was
most
gonna
don't,
say
complicated.
that would
don't
suck.
go on.
Because it's
Just
it
because
would
Aaron is
suck
here.
for the
just
guy
because-
that shows up at 99%, and I would
Yeah.
hate to be in a spot like that where it's like 99% of you is not enough.
Yeah.
But that's just how it's gonna be in that top three. And
Listen,
it's just so hard to pick the top three from the top three.
listen, Aaron's not here. That's what we doing. Aaron's not here.
I'm not here. I don't care. I don't get my feelings hurt.
add the fuel to his fire, bro. It's okay.
Okay,
Let's do it.
if we talk about if everybody brought their 100% physique,
That's different.
let's assume that.
That's different though, because I'm telling you right now,
Yeah,
if Aaron brings his all-time best,
I know. That's
there's
what
no,
I was gonna get
there's
at.
no one beating Aaron.
So that's what I was gonna get at. So if everybody brings their 100% in the top three and we are comparing legit 100%, I would put Aaron as first.
So are you saying you want to put Aaron for this is your prediction, bro?
This is that's what I'm saying. If everybody does come at 100%, that's my prediction. If he does bring in as 100%,
Okay.
right? So,
I
and I
understand.
would put now between Brandon and Early, it's hard
That's
because
hard.
they both have great abs, they both have great fronts, they both have weaker backs.
Yep.
And that's one of the reasons that I did place Aaron as first, because if he is at 100%, he has a solid back, and then his front has caught up, and it's great now, and he can just bring both front and back. Between those two, it's hard, but I think based on just the current way things are going, I would probably put Ali as second.
Yeah. So you've stood on stage with Ali before, right?
Yeah.
Like before the terror.
Yeah.
You actually beat him.
Before
Yeah.
the tear.
I did. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my question to you is how dramatically different is his physique from then to now? Because again, you've seen him front row in on stage.
It's extremely different, and that's just something that he did. You gotta get respect for its due, because he has definitely leveled up a lot from what I know and what I have seen. And I've seen him twice at the Olympia, and I've seen him at the India Pro Show, and I've seen him now again, not on stage but through the pictures. It's a completely different look.
Yeah.
He always had a great front. He always had a great abs. He always had that. But now, even those abs have a lot more like definition. Yeah, the graininess, like that hardness. And that's definitely something that he has done. And I think it has come down to more so about just really finding his peak, like really, like this is what it really is.
Yeah.
Because he has competed so much that I don't think you can improve, like you can really put on muscle in short that much amount of time, especially since he was already competing a while. But I think it's just the way that he has learned to peak. That is the true, like, it's insane. It's just like I've seen him in person, I've seen him right next to me, and I've seen him now, and it's not even close.
Yeah, dude, it's weird. Like I will say this, I competed with him, I believe, or 2023. Was it when he placed last at the Olympia, damn near?
Yeah, 23. Because 22 was his top 10, and then 23.
Yeah.
Yes.
Drew,
Yeah.
do you think there's a dramatic difference from that look to now?
I don't think it's as dramatic, like as far as he always looked great. I remember Hart covering him when he made his first top 10 ever, and he still had the look. He was polished. He had one of the craziest cores I've ever seen. I would argue that he has the best core right now in the IFBB, and it's something that he knows. But it's like since then, yeah, he's filled out more. He just added more to the
I think
look
that's
that he
the
already had.
2023 look. Yeah.
And he posed on the other side here in this Olympia that Tyler didn't like. So the side that he poses on now, because he used to be posing on both sides. Here he just doesn't have the pop as much as he has now. I mean, he still had the structure, he still had the size. I'd probably argue that he probably weighed close to the same as what he does now. It's just he's so much more polished now.
I think this is significantly better. Like I'm not even trying to stroke his ego here, but like I'm looking at it now for the first time, but he was still peeled. Like, hey, bro,
he's definitely better, but I don't think it's crazy dramatic. Like he just fine-tuned what he already had.
I think Bhuwan is 100% accurate in the sense that he didn't nail it. He learned how to nail his peak.
Yeah, like and look, even on the picture on the left, bro, he
that's true.
Yeah, you can even see that. Like he's there. Like it's all there. It's just
he was smiling back then too.
I haven't seen him post a lot of updates lately.
I'm waiting for him to get in an off season. I'm tired of seeing his shredded abs every day. Every day he posts, bro. It's like I'm in prep, and I'm like, he's motivating me to train abs for this prep.
I
So
can
I'm
only
like,
imagine, dude, running the gauntlet, like the amount of pressure that he probably has on his head right now. Just
he
like,
told me that. He did tell me that. He said now where he's at, I don't even think it's running the gauntlet. I just think that it's more people doubt him out. He has a big following, a cult following.
Yeah.
But I do think that he's feeling that pressure. And he doesn't say much. He's like, that's something that I respect of him because I know it does bother him. It bothers anybody. But the way that he doesn't show it is kind of hard to push any narrative on the guy. Like, you
that's my
can't
guy.
hate the guy. That's why it's hard.
That's my guy. I just hope he has a way to internalize it. Like he has somebody there. Like, listen, we've heard
He's doing everything he needs to do. He's doing everything that he needs to do, and I'm happy to see it. And honestly, it should give all these guys at the Olympia hope that you can go from a last call out or damn near last call out to being in that conversation and fighting with the best. I mean, I'm not saying everybody can do it, but if somebody can, he proved that you can. Don't doubt yourself. Don't count yourself out.
I do feel, Drew, I think over the last couple of years since we have been competing and like just the way like the division and everything is going, I do feel like the look has been just changed and tailored more towards what his strength is.
Yeah.
Whereas if he competed before when Brandon was the champ or when Raymond was the champ, he wouldn't even be in top 10, top 15 even, I would say. Because
exactly.
back then,
But
the look was
look though, like, because listen, I think Ali has a crazy physique. I think probably the craziest physique I've ever seen in person. Like, truly, I'm not even trying to sugarcoat, but like,
You say that about everybody.
no, bro. Like, listen, Ryan Terry was the most conditioned guy I've ever seen, but this was probably the best peak.
definitely the most conditioned. Yes, you
Yeah,
can say.
this was the best peak that I've seen. But like, for some, I feel like his physique, he still has time. He has so much to improve on. Put it this way. I think that's the scary thing, but also there's still holes and gaps right now, right? So like with that,
But how do you fill them without
I'm-
hitting that weight cap?
but that's what I'm asking. Like there's still
I
things.
know he said he had 2 kilos, so he has about
4 pounds,
5 pounds.
5 pounds. That's a lot. All right. Well, if that's the
Yeah, that's a lot for his height.
I thought he was maxed
yeah,
out
for
because
his
I
height.
could have sworn at the Olympia he was at that 194. So apparently he cut down a little bit.
What's the most impressive thing is even with the amount of holes that we can point out, it's his strengths overpower them.
Bro, guess what? All them hoes, and he still just whooped my ass.
But
And y'all talking about Aaron Banks is the logo and all of this. You see what I'm saying?
You guys
So
heard
there
my
is-
rant.
listen,
You see what I'm saying?
I think
what I'm like, trying to tell you.
I think this is the issue. I think a lot of things are perspective driven, right? So in our heads, if you were to piece together a perfect men's physique athlete, right? I think structure would hold a massive role in that.
But it still doesn't, because if that's the case, every time I step on the stage, I win. Because there's nobody structure in the league right now that's like mine.
Absolutely.
And it's
But
not
so
about
we
what we
can't-
think anymore.
We
It's about
can't
what
say
they do.
structure or none of that no more.
Yeah.
But
It's
even-
out the window.
Yes.
It's
It's preference.
2025.
So that's the point that I was making. Like, it's just the men's physique look has been tailored towards what his strength is. But again, the before like a couple of years ago, or even like how it was always, like men's physique is always going to be about structure first, then it's going to be about everything else. And now it's about structure. I think it's the least important. That's what I've
Literally.
seen.
That's
Literally.
You know who went through all the eras that always did well, which I'm excited to see Brandon at the Pittsburgh, is Brandon.
Yes.
He's been
Yes.
through all the eras, but at the same
Yes.
time, his physique wasn't as massive as it is now or recent
Yes.
years. Like he kind of grew into the division. So in 2017, he fit 2017. 2018, he started getting more dense, and that was like the mass monster era of men's physique. Didn't always have the best look back, but it was the back that was good enough with his front and then the lineup that he was in.
See, as
So I'm
far as I
excited to see.
remember, Brandon and Ali, when they went toe to toe, Brandon won the last time they went toe to toe.
Yeah, but
That was in Olympia.
but Ali wasn't
Exactly. So now with Ali being at his best and he's figured it out what is suits for his physique, and Brandon coming with his best, let's assume that's a great show because both are front dominant.
You know what
Brandon's
I
now one
think
of the
though?
best fronts.
That's
Hear me
true.
out. And I'm not giving my prediction yet, but this is
Yeah.
what I think. Ali beat Aaron Banks at his best. That's what I'm going to say. You guys could agree with it or not, but I thought that was the best Aaron Banks I've ever seen.
You're right.
I agree.
And Aaron Banks beat Brandon at his best in 2022. I feel like it's just Ali's year. I do. I truly feel like he's going to do everything that he says. And I told him after it's not just about who I want to win anymore. Of course, I want to see Banks win. Of course. Do I think that he should win? Absolutely. With structure and all that.
Actually going to,
Exactly. And I got an ongoing bet with Andre Ferguson. So I told him he has Brandon winning. I got Ali winning. And we just said, that's what it is. And I'm like, you know what? Watch Banks come in and win and wash out the bet. I'm like, this is all in good faith. You know, I want to see Banks win, and he knows. I've always had him. You know, I always break it down. I give literally like these segments. I go on rants for 10, 15 minutes explaining why. At this point, it doesn't even matter. It's just
doesn't even matter.
Ali is that guy. Yeah. Ali's that guy right now, and he showed it. And he beat Banks at his best, and Banks beat Brandon at his best. So I just don't see how Ali would lose to Brandon, especially with Brandon taking time off. Yeah, he could be motivated and whatnot, but we said we talked last week with Sadiq. He said age. Yeah. Age is still a thing. Your joints get sore. Your body may not respond. Even you, Bhuwan, you even said.
Yeah.
You don't even know why, but your body isn't responding the same way. You don't know that's how it would be with him or not. So
if Brandon places third, is he giving with you still?
As long as Ali wins. As long as Ali wins. So I know it's all in good faith.
If I would agree with Drew's point, if I want to make
it's competing.
Yeah. If it's strictly about what the division is right now, and this is being judged by a judge's perspective, of course Ali is going to be on the first, Aaron is going to be on the second, Brandon is going to be third, and everybody else follows, because that's, as I said, like that's the look that's been tailored for men's physique standard now. But
100%.
is that what is a balanced look? We can all argue about that, and that's why like I'm putting Aaron on first, because it's like, okay, if you compare front and back, and you compare like a guy that has peaked perfectly front and back, sure, there needs to be weight on structure, and there needs to be weight on the back pose. 50% front, 50% back.
I agree. Hold on. That's a really good point.
I've said this already. I said this.
I really okay. But do you think they actually judge that way? Do you really think they?
No.
For me, they did. For me, they did at Olympia.
My prediction is not based on what the division is going to want. If I just change this prediction right now, I will say Ali first, Aaron second, Brandon third, and that's based on what the judges want.
Yes. Okay.
That is going to be the correct. If we are going by who's going to be correct in terms of the judging perspective, that's the position. If I want to put in the prediction for what I think should be the right way of going about it, this is what it is.
See,
it's who you want to win versus who do you think would based on the judge. So it's kind of like the discrepancy.
Yeah. You can argue who men's physique should be. It's not even who I want. Like it's like I'm.
What you think it is?
I'm very good friends with Brandon, right? So I would want to make him win.
Yeah.
But it's not about that. I do believe, like, it has to be perfect front and back, 50% front, 50% back. Aaron does fit that.
It's so funny when you simplify it, right? But then you go to a show and then becomes so fucking all over the place in your head. Like to me, it doesn't make sense. But when you simplify it, they judge front and back in men's physique.
That's it.
Like Ali wins from the front, Aaron wins from the back.
Exactly.
Aaron separates.
But let me tell you that. Go ahead.
Aaron separates dramatically from the back, and then when it comes to the front, I think that he's losing.
We're closer. Ali wins, but they're closer.
Especially his final look. But regardless, it's so funny you guys have said that, man, because I've been thinking about that for so long.
It's what we're all thinking. It's a matter of saying it too, because I don't want to.
All right, who do you have coming in fourth?
I think either Vitor or Diego. I would say based on how they have been doing so far.
I'm going with Vitor. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that's okay.
My prediction.
For me, I would put Vitor at 4 because I know that he just had a little break and he didn't really actually compete at the Arnold, and I think he would be a little bit more fresh, and also he would have that vengeance of not being able to, because you get pissed off and you're not competing as you wanted to. So it's a different kind of mindset you come with.
I like that.
And leading up to the Arnold, Vitor was looking the best I've ever seen him, and he's obviously with cuts, and there's some stuff that we've seen. I was excited to see him. I
think he would be right up there, and then I think with 5th it'll be Diogo.
All right, so I'm gonna see if he put any recent updates. Nah.
I haven't seen any. No, I don't think so.
He was posting a
Yeah,
lot.
you have Diogo over Edmund.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's get back to it. So, all right. So we have Diogo. Man, I'm telling you, Diogo's dangerous too. He's one of them. All right. Then you got Edvon, you said?
Yeah, 6 Edvon.
All right. Damn. All right,
And
Matt.
then who's left?
So we have Ryan Clark.
You got Carlos.
So a guy who just jumped in. He's not on the official list yet, but he announced it. Oh, also you have Carlos Ocran, who's 8th in the world right now. You have who else?
Brandon Cantaloupes is in there too.
I think I would put Carlos at 7.
Carlos at 7. All
Yeah.
right. Yo, I didn't see his name on there.
Ooh.
I didn't what's his face? Who'd you
Brandon?
just Brandon. I didn't see it on.
Yeah, he talked to me. I don't know if he
Probably didn't put it
He
in.
probably didn't
Put in
put his
for
thing
you.
yet.
Yeah.
Dude, who else just jumped into it too?
Victor Ramirez, 15th.
He's in the world.
Yeah.
And then there's someone else.
Dude, this is like an all-star show, bro. This
It's
is
not.
literally like
This is a crazy show. I
and
thought
I'm
the
getting front row.
Dubai Pro show last year was crazy. This just throws it out of the fucking
Yeah,
park.
Dubai was nuts. Dubai was nuts.
So
I know.
I
And
like
now
that they're
this
doing
one is
this.
just
all
insane.
right, who's putting in
There's
8th?
there's an expo, right?
There's an expo.
Yeah.
We're going, right? You better be fucking going.
Oh yeah. Oh
All
yeah.
right. All right. You want Victor Ramirez? He finished 15th. We have Ryan Clark off of back-to-back wins in terms of getting to the Olympia. And then we have some other names in here. Barack King, he's been competing for a long time. Gage Morgan, this is his debut, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think I'd put Ryan Clark at 8 and then Victor at 9. They could be either or.
All right. Well, you only get 8, but
Yeah.
damn.
Again, I will say before you jump on, that's the way I would want it if it was 50%, 50%. But based on the judging, I know it'll be first Ali and then it'll be second Aaron's if that's what they want. That is 80% front and 20% back.
All right. I like it. Aaron, I don't want to get you in trouble. What do you think has the better back, Brandon or Ali?
Brandon.
You think so?
His taper is better.
Yeah.
He's got more thickness too.
That's true. Okay, then let me ask you this. 2023 Olympia. Or no, let's go 2024. Do you think
But Ali beat Banks is back. I mean, that's all I could like. It's hard to do this because we're always comparing, and
Yeah, that's why.
you know what I'm
like,
saying. It don't make sense to me why,
Yeah.
but it happened, and that's why it's hard to go off of that. I'm just at this point. I'm like,
Because
That's
I
irrational.
don't think that they're actually doing it 50% scoring. Like how they do the bodybuilding poses, which is 8 poses. Whoever wins the most poses wins the thing. I don't think they do that with men's physique.
I don't
No.
I don't think so either.
I don't
no, they're great in your presentation.
But,
they're
but you
marking
got to
down your
understand, if
weaknesses.
that was the case,
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know, man. It's this show, it's hard to put into words. Like I think there's a lot of people's strengths are other people's weakness in this. And like we talk, it's so easy to talk about like who has the most complete physique, but I think you said
But it seems like there's strengths that are insane strengths. Like Ali's core is like not only a strength, it literally carries like what the division originally
his
was.
whole entire front shot, put it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where there's so many different muscles that you can judge, you only look there. You know, I'm not again, it's not I'm not trying to limit his physique, but I haven't seen a wow factor like that before in our division.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's getting so much attention because it's just I know
It's the new
Only
shiny
factor-
toy.
wow
It's the new
factor with
shiny
Ryan.
toy too.
listen, it's like Thanos when he gets all the 5 rings, right? Right now he has 4 of them, right? So we got to see if he can actually complete it. That's the hard part, right? And he has a weight cap, right? There's still holes, like, but if he fills those holes, again, man, it's gonna.
That's what me and Andre were
Balls.
getting into the
Balls.
other day about it.
Well,
The weight cap. So it wasn't in effect in 2023, but they still weighed and height everybody.
yeah, what's you and Andre's bet?
So we ended up deciding on a nice steakhouse dinner.
Ooh, that's good.
So
I like that.
yeah, so something like a gentleman's.
He's gonna
bet,
order-
you know,
he's gonna order a
there's
lot
no
of
beef
food,
or
though.
something.
He's
What's
gonna,
up?
He's gonna order a lot of shit.
Well, I don't see Brandon winning, so I don't think he's ordering nothing.
All right, Bhuwan, before we get out of here, I got to ask you this question, man. This is the honorary NPR, farewell question.
Yeah.
Where do you put your syrup? Is it in the pantry or the fridge? Syrup, what you put on top of
Fridge.
cakes? Fridge?
Right.
Oh, that's white.
But then I also use
boy.
I also only use the sugar-free one. So I refuse to put
It don't
like all
matter. We
that
got
stuff.
the answer.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's it.
I,
Why
I
you
think
I, it
I
outside?
Outside.
no,
No,
I put it in the fridge, bro. They put it in. I don't know. You put it in the cabinet. Ugh.
God damn it! Why?
Yeah, I know. That's what I say.
Why?
Room
Who
temperature
eats
now.
who eats
Dude.
cold? So you gonna put some nice warm fluffy ass pancakes with butter,
No, you
with some
put
Talk your,
cold
talk your
ass
shit, Aaron.
no,
Talk
no,
your
no.
shit.
So you put it in a little bowl, and then you put it in the defrost setting for like about 30 seconds, and now it's like room
Why
temperature.
would you just keep it in the cabinet?
Because it's fresher.
Because it's disgusting.
That's
to
way
put it in the
too
room
much.
temperature.
Bro, that's
It's like
way
putting
too much.
rice.
Oh my
It's like
God.
I look at it as
Put
like
it in
putting
a
anything
bowl.
at room temperature.
He said put it in a
Oh
bowl. That's
man.
crazy.
All I know is I got the answer I wanted. So
That's crazy.
finally.
God.
We got to
Bro,
have a
it's-
tally. I'm going to go back for the 1 year episode and kind of find everybody
up.
and their answers. So
Wait,
I think
what?
I might be winning, to be honest with
No,
you.
you're crazy. You're crazy.
I mean, you had Sandy, you had Ariel, you had Bhuwan. There's 3 right there.
Bro,
What did
stop. You're crazy.
I'm
Aaron,
trying to think.
and he's trying to build an
It's
argument.
it's pretty close though. I don't think it's like a landslide. I think it's pretty
No,
close. It's a lot of mixed answers.
I
Nah.
think there was more in the cabinet than
It was definitely more in a cabinet, but I will say Abisai, that weirdo also said that he put his in the fridge. So I don't know.
It ain't a culture thing. It's a preference.
We thought it was listen, Bhuwan, the reason why we asked this because we've been asking every walk of life, right? We thought it was a cultural thing because in the very beginning, it was all like black people putting it in the pantry, white people putting it in the fridge. We thought it was a cultural
I put it right by my potato salad.
Bro, that's crazy. Right next to his mayo.
Right by my what do you call it? The hors d'oeuvres, those eggs, the deviled eggs.
That's nasty. Hold on.
That's what the white people eat.
Well, I'll tell you this. If I was in India right now and you would say that you put it in room temperature, I would be like, you're crazy because when it's plus 50, plus 49, 48 degrees outside, there is no way you can take a chance.
You tell them, bro. You tell them.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's what I've been trying to say. Nobody wants to listen to me.
India is different, bro. I'm telling you. Like,
that
I don't know how
different though.
First of all, the athletes in India, bro, Drew, I'm begging you, right? Before we end up or hang up our board shorts, we got to go to compete in India at least one time.
19-hour flight, bro. I mean,
listen, it's
you gotta be fucking crazy.
But bro, like what I'm saying is their food there, first of all, it will have you sitting on a toilet for 24 hours the next day. But as it's going down,
I do just want some authentic buttered chicken. That's
that buttered chicken, yeah. I've
Well,
never
you're
had
gonna
it
try
before.
real butter chicken because real butter chicken you don't even get here. Like I never eat butter chicken in Canada, US, or
Really?
even in India. There's only selected restaurants I go to because the real recipe is not supposed to taste sweet. It's not supposed to be like that. This is all like the tailored down versions of like making it. It's a tailored down version for kids. That's why it's a little sweet for like the kids to enjoy eating that.
So
the real chicken, there's only a couple like places that still make real butter chicken.
So what's the one meal that you recommend anybody to have from either an Indian restaurant or when they go to India?
I would say like try the different kinds of goat curries and goat kebabs. That's something that you don't get as much here. Like goat meat is not as popular, but it tastes amazing. And there's some places in the Middle East that are also big on lamb and goat. But in India, that's the thing to eat, like goat meat.
Bro, I went to a lot of like the grocery stores from where I was staying, I think it was New Delhi.
Yeah.
The market, like they were cutting chicken, they were like doing all that shit.
Yeah.
Like you could see it, like a yard sale.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, there's no fucking way.
So there's like different levels, right? Like that's how it used to be like 20 years ago. That was the only way of getting meats. Now there's all the ways. Like now we have places similar to like Walmarts. But then so you'll have like all cut up and everything. But then that's tailored to different kind of people. That's a different class of people that'll go to those kind of markets. Then there's a different class that you just want to go get fresh. So they'll cut the chicken right in front of you. No, that's fresh. Right?
I like the fact that I got to experience the culture.
Yeah.
Like that's what I wanted to do. Where I stayed, it was 5 minutes from just like I played in a really nice hotel. I'm talking bougie.
Yeah.
5 minutes down the road, opposite. Like the roads were dirt. It was just people standing out. Like it was awesome to see it, like the roots of it. And that's what I like when I travel. And that's why I like.
That's a good area you stayed at because I was close to the venue, but I was also close to like the I guess the best one of the best areas of Delhi, like the whole presidential, like all the parliament buildings and everything, they're right there too. So you were right there in the center, and then at the same time you're getting access to the show and like the expo and all of that. So yeah, I think you had a, from what I know, what you told me, I think you had a pretty good amount of exposure and travel for the days that you were there at
The
for.
Indian people are special, man. They will forever have a special place in my heart. So I got to go back there. I want to get a title one
I'll
from
tell
them.
you
You
what,
have to.
Alex. I'll tell you what, bro. We'll end up doing it if we both decide to compete. I'll only go if you go.
Yeah. All right.
And I'm gonna come to. I'll have to come to you. Maybe get a week of content, and then we'll fly out together. Because there's no fucking way in hell I'm doing that flight by myself.
Got to take a Xanax, bro.
There is no way. The perks of being shot is I got
It's hard.
scripts for all this shit, and I'm
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
I
stacking
flew
it
to
up,
Dubai. You can
Yeah.
fly
Wait,
to Dubai.
how far
It
is
ain't
that?
that much longer.
bro. I
yeah,
can't even.
I
I can't
think
even
it's like
fly
a
to
4 hour
Cali.
difference.
Say it
Yeah,
again.
it's a
Yes,
4 hour
it's
difference.
4 hour difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, but trust
It's
me,
still long, bro. I
that's
struggle like flying back to even when I was going to Florida. It's 2 hours. That to me is like I don't know. When I'm in the air, I feel like time is going by so much slower.
what's the farthest?
So
All right. I'm sorry. I know. What's the farthest you guys ever flew for a show?
Dubai, for sure.
Yeah.
I've drove like 7 hours to Toronto. No, I went to Optimum Classic in 2020, and that was a 13-hour drive. I'd rather drive than fly.
You're crazy. Bhuwan.
Same thing. India. I went from Canada to India and then India to Canada to compete.
That's
Were you living in Canada?
Yeah. Yeah. I've been living
That's
here.
what I was wondering. That's what you're still there right now, right?
Yeah. It just sucks that I wouldn't be here when you're coming here for Toronto Pro Show because that's the same. It's like a week or two before that I leave for
I
India.
was wondering if you were going to do it because I know that you've done it before. I
Yeah.
remember when Rodriguez won. Did he win?
No. I did it when Mehdi won. And
When Mehdi won.
Yeah.
I wanted. So here's actually a funny short story, real quick. The
Yeah.
first time that I ever seen you was
Yeah.
it was on a reel on Instagram, and it was when you started like your transformation, and you were still lean, but you were smaller. And
Oh,
then it was
yeah.
like about believing in yourself and like moving up because I got a
Yeah.
similar background. Like I wrestled, I weighed 120 in high school. And I was like, bro,
Okay.
he's got a very similar structure, wide shoulders. He's full. We're not the biggest dudes, but
Yeah.
it's like you put on a lot of size to see how far you've actually came from where you started. So I
Yeah.
remember seeing you. And when I first competed with you in San Francisco, I was like, oh shit. Like it was just like a guy that I watched and I respected, and then
Yeah.
getting to finally compete with him and kind of watching your story when you had no idea who I was, but it was exciting for me. You guys like
Which year
of you
was
guys.
that? Which year was that?
San Francisco was 2021. You won it.
2021. No,
22.
2022. Oh, okay. Yeah.
We got
Yeah,
a
that
picture
was like a show that I
backstage.
just decided last minute to just jump in and just kind of
Yeah.
just wasn't even at my 100%.
And I
But
know, I think you said you were like 80%. And I was
Yeah.
sitting there and I'm like, damn. But I don't know if you remember, we got a picture backstage and shit. I was like,
I know now. I know.
geeking
I
out.
remember. But
Yeah.
I remember our talk. I remember seeing you. Everything. I just thought that we may have competed before that too. That's why I
Yeah.
asked you because I did quite a few shows in California.
Yeah,
So-
no, that was the first one that we ever did together. Other ones that I've seen you compete at, I don't know specifically off the top of my head, but I remember being at them and seeing you compete. I know you've competed with Stephen Cow a lot.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of show. I forgot what show it was with you and him, but I looked at you guys like, damn, I want to be like that, you know?
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
it was
thought
motivating.
We may have competed before that. That's why I was like surprised.
Yeah.
That it took
I
us
was
that long.
I was a nobody, bro. I was literally just happy to be there. That was actually my first show back from when I was shot. So, that was when I finally started making a name for myself. And, it's crazy to think that now I have a podcast with, Aaron and Alex, and, Aaron's a Olympia champ, Alex is well on his way, and, you're one of the best to do it. And then constantly talking to these guys weekly, Ryan Terry, getting these guys on here that are, the top, and Sadiq and all these guys I watched like in high school, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, no,
awesome.
it's actually crazy that you yourself have had such a fast come up and like you've done so well for the last couple of years. Because I would have guessed that you've been competing for a lot longer, like even at that level.
Yeah.
But I know that in the last 2 years, you've really like put a name on yourself, and you had to go through a lot of shows too to finally be under the eyes of all the judges. Like I think 4 shows you did? 4?
Yeah.
5?
So in 23, I came out like and I was second place at Daniel Ammons. And once I realized I was in second, it was like awesome for me. It was like a win. But then I realized I was so close. I'm like, damn, I got to do more. And then I was third. Then I was third again. Then I was third in Vancouver. And then I finally went into Chicago. Alex Toplin was like the name that, he's beating everybody. And, you
Yeah.
had John Mullings, and then you had Nick Coe who beat Potvin
Yeah.
the year before. And I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, if I get third or fourth, I'm happy. I didn't want to break
Yeah.
the streak. I ended up winning it. Ario literally was nearly in tears. He's like, bro, I'm sorry. Because he wanted me to go to Colombia. He was offering to buy my trip. He's like, I want you to go
Oh,
to
wow.
Colombia, be in front of Tyler. Because that year Tyler came out with that video that was saying how he liked my look and was explaining men's physique.
Oh, wow.
But I was like, holy shit, I won in my hometown, the first show I ever did in the same
Yeah.
vicinity. It's in Tinley Park. And then I beat some big names out at the end of the year closing with my coach and my family there. It was like a dream, man, especially after, everything that I went through with my leg, being able to stand on stage
Wow.
and be like, wow, I cried after prejudging because I ended
Yeah.
center and I knew it. Yeah, I didn't cry at
Wow.
finals, obviously, but
Wow, that's
real
great.
man.
That's great. So now this year you're doing the Toronto Pro. So this is going to be your first time in Canada, right? Like competing in Canada?
I won Toronto last year.
Oh shit. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. Okay,
Who's
yeah. Why was I
defending,
not
bro?
there? Well, okay, I was again not there because I was in India for that
Yeah.
expo. It was on the same weekend.
Yeah,
I
it was.
actually remember
No,
because
it
I
was
was
the same
wondering.
weekend. We quite like we no. I remember because we were on the phone when I was.
You were the day. I think you were the day before because it was
Yeah, it's the
Sunday
same
for me.
weekend. It was
Yeah,
the same weekend.
The
It
same
was,
weekend.
There was DC, there was Mile High, there was the India, there was a lot of shows. So
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
listen, I can sit here and talk to you guys forever, but I want to take a
yeah,
quick second. Bhuwan, I got to thank you,
Mhm.
man. I know we've been meaning
I
to do
do.
this for a while now. You've given me a lot of perspective change. As somebody who's been doing this for a long time, our conversation in person, off camera, really stuck with me. I'll never forget the metaphor you've given me just regarding how you looked at your off season as college, a school, right? And
Yeah, the
progress, like,
4 year progression.
yeah.
exactly the progression, and gave me an opportunity to take a step back and analyze my progression. So I wanted to get you on here because I'm a fan of you, the way that you go about your business, and you as an athlete, man. So I want to take a quick second to thank you. And again, guys, we're going to continue to bring you guys guests as high quality as Bhuwan. Somebody who's been in the sport for a long time, who is educated on the sport, who's been through a lot and has grown through a lot. But again, we appreciate you guys as always. Until the next episode, peace.
Thank you, guys. See ya.